You know those moments when life throws something at you that you never saw coming? That's what happened to me on a quiet Tuesday afternoon. I was sitting in my tiny apartment, sipping tea, when the mail arrived. There was this thick envelope from a lawyer's office. My heart sank a little because I knew it was about my uncle. He'd passed away just a few weeks before. I missed him so much. He was like the father I never had growing up. With shaky hands, I opened it. The words jumped out at me. Dear Sarah, your uncle has left you his mansion, valued at $2 million. I froze. Tears filled my eyes. That beautiful house on the hill, with its big rooms and peaceful gardens, it was mine now? It felt like a warm hug from him, one last gift. But then I kept reading, and my world tilted. The letter said, however, you are not the only beneficiary. The property is to be shared with 2 others named in the will. Who? Why? My mind raced. Was this some kind of mistake? Or did my uncle have secrets I never knew? I sat there, staring at the paper, feeling a mix of joy and confusion wash over me. The mansion wasn't just bricks and walls. It was full of memories, laughing with him in the kitchen, walking the paths he loved. Now sharing it with strangers. It hurt in a quiet way. What would happen next? Would we fight or find something good in it? But wait, the biggest shock was yet to come when I learned who the others were. Keep listening to hear what unfolded. I want to take you back a little, before the letter arrived, so you can feel how this house and my uncle became part of who I am. My name is Sarah, and growing up, life was small and steady. My parents had a little house on the edge of town. Dad fixed cars, Mom worked at the library. We didn't have much extra, but we had each other. Love was quiet in our home. Hugs at bedtime, shared meals, Sunday drives to see the sea. My Uncle Robert was the bright spot that came and went, like summer vacation. He was my mom's older brother, 10 years older than her. He never had children of his own, never married. People said he was married to his work, building companies, traveling for deals, always coming back with gifts and stories. But to me, he was just Uncle Rob, tall, soft-spoken, with kind eyes that crinkled when he smiled. Whenever he visited, he brought me books, little wooden puzzles, once even a music box that played a lullaby. I would wind it every night and fall asleep listening. The first time he took me to the mansion, I was 8. I remember standing at the front gate, mouth open. It wasn't a cold, fancy palace. It felt warm, lived in. White walls, green shutters, roses climbing everywhere. Inside, the wooden floors creaked like they were saying hello. He held my hand and walked me through every room. This one was my library, he said, opening tall doors, shelves from floor to ceiling. You can borrow any book you want, Sarah. I picked a thin one with a girl on the cover and never gave it back. He just laughed. We spent whole afternoons in the garden. He taught me how to plant seeds, how to water without drowning them. Patience, he always said. Good things take time. I didn't understand then, but I loved hearing his voice. Low, calm, never in a hurry. As I got older, the visits changed. I was a teenager, moody sometimes, school was hard, but whenever I felt lost, I'd call him. He'd drive over, take me for ice cream, or just sit on his porch swing with me. We didn't always talk a lot. Sometimes we just listened to the crickets. Once, when I was crying about a boy who broke my heart, he put his arm around me and said, "People will come and go, sweetheart, but the ones who stay, they're the real treasure." I never asked him why he never had a family of his own. It felt rude. Mom once told me he had loved someone long ago, but it didn't work out. She said he never talked about it again. I always wondered if that was why he poured so much love into me. Then life moved fast. I finished school, got a small job at a bookstore, rented my first apartment. Uncle Rob got quieter. He traveled less. His calls came less often. When I visited, I noticed he moved slower. His hands shook a little when he poured tea. I asked if he was okay. He smiled that same old smile. Just getting older, that's all. Nothing to worry about. But I worried. I started driving up more often. I'd bring soup, sit with him, read to him when his eyes got tired. Those were some of the sweetest evenings of my life. We'd talk about nothing important and everything that mattered. He told me stories I'd never heard, about his childhood, about mistakes he made, about how proud he was of the woman I was becoming. One night, maybe 6 months before he passed, we sat in his study. The fire was low. He looked at me for a long time. "Sarah," he said softly, "if something happens to me, promise you'll remember the garden. Promise you'll keep planting." I laughed gently. "You're not going anywhere." He didn't laugh back. He just squeezed my hand. "Just promise." I promised. Then came the hospital calls. The quiet nights in the waiting room. The day the doctor said there was nothing more they could do. I held his hand as he slipped away. He looked peaceful. At the end, he whispered my name one last time, then he was gone. The funeral was small. Rain fell softly. I stood under an umbrella with Mom, both of us crying without sound. After everyone left, I stayed by his grave a long time. I told him thank you. I told him I loved him. I told him I'd keep planting. I thought that was the end of the story. But 2 weeks later, that letter arrived, and everything I thought I knew about my uncle started to feel like only half the truth. The next morning I called the lawyer. His secretary said he could see me the following day. I barely slept that night. My mind kept circling back to the same question. Who were the other two people? Why would he do this to me, to us? When I finally sat in his office, the lawyer opened a folder. He spoke gently, like he knew this would hurt. "There are 3 names on the deed now," he said. "You, your cousin Alexander, and a woman named Elena Marquez." I felt the air leave my lungs. Alexander, Alex. I hadn't seen him since we were kids. He lived across the country. We were never close. And Elena? I'd never heard that name in my life. "Who is she?" I asked, voice small. The lawyer looked down at his notes. "She was your uncle's companion and caregiver for the last 4 years of his life." Companion. The word landed like a stone in still water. I sat there, numb, while he explained the rest. The will had one unusual condition. Before any of us could sell, divide, or change anything, we had to live in the house together for 30 days. All 3 of us, under one roof. My heart started pounding so hard I thought he could hear it. I left the office in a daze. The drive home felt endless. When I pulled into my parking spot, I just sat there with the engine off, staring at nothing. How was I supposed to live with 2 strangers in the house that felt more like home than any place I'd ever known? And what if they wanted to sell it? What if they didn't care about the roses, the library, the swing? What if they didn't care about Uncle Rob at all? I didn't know it then, but that was only the beginning of the secrets waiting inside those walls. I didn't sleep much after leaving the lawyer's office. The word companion kept circling in my head like a moth around a porch light. Companion. It sounded innocent enough, but it carried weight I wasn't ready to carry. I kept picturing Uncle Rob in his last years, frail, sitting in his favorite chair by the window, someone bringing him tea, reading the newspaper aloud because his eyes weren't what they used to be. I should have been that person more often. I told myself I was busy with work, with life, but the truth sat heavy. I hadn't been there enough. The next morning, I made coffee I didn't drink and stared at my phone. The lawyer had given me contact information for both of them. Alexander, Alex, first. I scrolled to his number, thumb hovering. We hadn't spoken in almost 15 years. Last time I saw him was at Grandma's funeral. He was 22 then, already distant, already angry at the world. He barely looked at me. I remember thinking, he's hurting too, but I didn't know how to reach him. I still didn't. I dialed anyway. It rang 4 times. I almost hung up. "Hello?" His voice was deeper than I remembered, guarded. "Alex, it's Sarah, Uncle Rob's niece." A long pause. Then, "Yeah, I got the letter. No, how are you? No, sorry about Uncle." Just that flat edge. "I thought maybe we should talk," I said quietly. "About what? The house? Or the fact that he decided to play games with it after he was gone?" His words stung, but I kept my voice steady. "I don't think he was playing games. I think he had reasons." Another silence. Then he sighed. "Look, I'm flying in next week. Lawyer wants us all to meet at the house. You, me, and her." "Elena." "Yeah, her." I swallowed. "Okay, I'll be there." He hung up without goodbye. I sat with the phone in my lap, feeling small. Alex had always been the golden boy in family stories. Smart, athletic, the one everyone expected big things from. But somewhere along the way he turned hard. Mom said he blamed Uncle Rob for not helping more when his dad, my other uncle, passed young. Money fights, old grudges. I never knew the full story. Now it felt like pieces of that old hurt were about to spill into this new one. A few days later, Elena texted. Simple message. Sarah, this is Elena. Would you like to meet before the group gathering? Just us. The garden at 4 p.m. tomorrow? My fingers shook as I typed back. Yes, I'd like that. I arrived early. The gate creaked the same way it always had. Roses were in full bloom. Pink, red, white. Like Uncle Rob was still tending them. I walked the stone path slowly, touching petals, remembering how he'd show me which ones needed deadheading. A little care goes a long way. She was already there, sitting on the old wooden bench under the willow tree. She stood when she saw me. Mid-50s, soft gray streaks in her dark hair, warm brown skin, eyes that looked tired but kind. She wore a simple blue dress and gardening gloves dangling from one hand. Sarah, she said, voice gentle. Thank you for coming. We sat. For a long moment neither of us spoke. Birds chirped. Wind moved the willow branches like slow fingers. I loved him, she said finally. Not dramatic, just honest. Not the way people might think. Not romance. He was my friend. My family when I had none left. I nodded, throat tight. He was good at that, making people feel like family. She looked down at her hands. He talked about you every single day. Every day, Sarah. The way your laugh sounded like bells. How proud he was when you got that job at the bookstore. How you once brought him homemade jam, and he ate it straight from the jar. Tears burned behind my eyes. I hadn't known he remembered those little things so clearly. Why the will like this? I asked softly. Why make us share? Elena took a slow breath. He was afraid. Afraid? Of being forgotten. Of the house becoming just another thing sold off. He wanted us to see each other. Really see. He said the only way people heal old wounds is by living in the same space long enough to remember they're human. I looked at the house. Sunlight caught the upstairs windows, turning them gold. It looked peaceful, but I felt anything but. Alex wants to sell, I said. I know, she smiled sadly. He told the lawyer already. But the condition is clear. 30 days, together, no decisions until the end. I wrapped my arms around myself. And if he can't do it? Then it goes to charity. All of it. The house, the land, everything. That was his final wish. My stomach dropped. Sell or lose it forever. Those were the choices. We sat in silence a while longer. Then Elena reached over and touched my arm lightly. I'm not here to take anything from you, Sarah. I just wanted to honor him, the way he honored me when no one else would. I looked at her hand on my sleeve. Warm, steady. For the first time since the letter arrived, I didn't feel completely alone. But that softness didn't last. The day of the first official meeting came too fast. The three of us stood in the foyer, like strangers at a bus stop. Alex arrived in a sharp gray suit, briefcase in hand, jaw tight. Elena wore the same blue dress, calm as still water. I felt underdressed in jeans and a sweater. Comfort clothes, because I knew I'd need comfort. The lawyer wasn't there this time, just us and the house. Alex spoke first. Let's make this quick. I have a flight tomorrow night. I want to list the property. Split 3 ways. Done. Elena folded her hands. The will says 30 days. I know what the will says, he snapped. But I'm not playing house for a month with people I don't know. I looked between them. My voice came out quieter than I meant. Maybe we should at least try. For him. Alex laughed, short, bitter. For him? He's gone. This is theater. He's making us jump through hoops from the grave. Elena's eyes flashed for the first time. He gave you everything when you were young, Alex. College, first car, the down payment on your condo in Seattle. And you never once called to say thank you. The air turned thick. Alex's face darkened. You don't know anything about me. I know what he told me, she said evenly. And I know he never stopped hoping you'd come around. He stepped closer. And you? What did you do to earn a third of a $2 million house? Play nursemaid for 4 years? Cook soup? That's not family. That's a job. Elena didn't flinch. I loved him. That was enough for him. I felt tears rise again. Not from anger, from exhaustion. This was exactly what I feared. Old hurts crashing into new ones. I stepped between them without thinking. Stop, please. They both looked at me. Uncle Rob didn't write this will to watch us tear each other apart, I said. He wrote it because he believed we could be better. Maybe he was wrong, but if we walk away now, we lose the house, and we lose any chance to understand why he did this. Silence stretched. Alex rubbed his face. I'm not moving in here. Elena spoke softly. You don't have to, but if you leave before the 30 days, the deal is off. He stared at her, then at me, then at the staircase leading up to the rooms we all knew too well. I'll stay 1 week, he said finally. That's it. 1 week. Then I'm gone, and I'm selling my share, with or without you. He turned and walked out to his rental car. The door slammed. Elena looked at me. He's hurting more than he shows. I nodded slowly. We all are. That night, I moved a suitcase into the guest room, the one Uncle Rob always kept ready for me. Elena took the room down the hall. Alex chose the study, sleeping on the pull-out couch. No one spoke much at dinner. Elena made pasta. Simple, comforting. We ate in near silence. Afterward, I wandered outside alone. The garden smelled like rain, even though the sky was clear. I sat on the bench where Elena and I had talked. I thought about Uncle Rob's last promise to me. Keep planting. I whispered into the dark. I'm trying. But deep down I wondered, what if the thing that needed planting most wasn't flowers? What if it was forgiveness? And what if some wounds were too deep to ever grow anything new? The next morning I woke to the sound of Alex packing. My heart sank. Was one night all it took? But when I went downstairs, he wasn't leaving. He was standing in the kitchen, staring at an old photo on the fridge. Him and Uncle Rob at a baseball game. Alex was maybe 10, smiling so wide it hurt to look at. He didn't turn when I came in. I forgot this picture existed, he said quietly. I stood beside him. He kept it up all these years. Alex's voice cracked just a little. I was supposed to call him, after college. I never did. I didn't say anything, just stood there with him. Then he whispered, maybe I'll stay the week. It wasn't much, but it was a start. What none of us knew yet was that the real secret Uncle Rob left behind wasn't in the will. It was hidden upstairs. And when we finally opened it, everything changed. That first full week in the house felt like walking on eggshells made of glass. We moved around each other carefully. Mornings were the hardest. I'd come down to the kitchen and find Elena already there, brewing coffee the way Uncle Rob liked it. Strong, no sugar. She'd pour me a cup without asking, slide it across the island with a small nod. No big conversations, just the quiet sound of spoons against mugs. Alex stayed mostly upstairs. He'd come down for meals, eat fast, disappear again. Sometimes I'd hear him pacing in the study late at night. Once I passed the door and saw him sitting at Uncle Rob's old desk, staring at nothing. The lamplight caught the lines on his face, deeper than they should be for someone only 38. I wanted to say something, anything, but the words stayed stuck. Elena was the one who started small bridges. She'd leave little notes on the fridge. Fresh bread in the oven if you're hungry. Roses need water. Join me in the garden. Simple things. Kind things. I began answering them. A thank you scribbled back. A yes, I'll be there at 5. Alex ignored the notes at first. Then one day I saw him take one down, fold it, put it in his pocket. He didn't say anything about it, but he didn't throw it away either. By day 5, the silence between us had softened just enough that we started eating dinner together. Not every night, but most. Elena cooked. Simple food, warm food. Chicken with herbs from the garden. Pasta with tomatoes she'd picked herself. I helped chop sometimes. Alex would sit at the far end of the table, but he stayed. He even passed the bread once without being asked. One evening, after the plates were cleared, Elena looked at both of us. I found something today, she said quietly. In the attic. I wasn't snooping. I was looking for extra blankets. The nights are getting cooler. Alex leaned back in his chair. And? There's a small desk up there. Old. Locked drawer. I didn't touch it. But it has his handwriting on the front, for when the time is right. My heart gave a strange thud. Uncle Rob's handwriting was so familiar. Careful, slanted letters, the way the T crossed high. I felt a pull like a thread tugging inside my chest. Alex rubbed his jaw. Probably old tax papers or love letters from someone we don't want to know about. Elena shook her head slowly. It felt personal, like he left it on purpose. I looked between them. We should open it, together. Alex exhaled through his nose. Fine, but if it's nothing, we stop pretending this 30-day thing means anything. We climbed the narrow attic stairs the next afternoon. Dust floated in the slanted light coming through the small window. Boxes of Christmas ornaments, old skis, a trunk with my name on it, things I'd left here as a kid. And there, against the far wall, the little desk, dark wood, brass handle on the drawer, a single envelope taped to the front, yellowed with age. Elena read the words aloud, voice steady but soft. For Sarah, Alex, and Elena, open only when you're all here. No sooner, no later. My mouth went dry. Alex stared at the envelope like it might bite. He knew we'd end up here. I reached out first. My fingers brushed the paper. It felt warm, impossible as that sounds. I peeled the tape carefully. Inside the envelope was a single brass key, small, old. We didn't speak as I slid it into the lock. It turned with a soft click. The drawer opened smoothly. Inside lay a thin stack of letters, maybe 10, all in Uncle Rob's handwriting, all addressed the same way, to my 3 children. Children. The word hung in the attic air like smoke. Elena's hand went to her mouth. Alex went very still. I felt tears prick my eyes before I even understood why. I lifted the first letter. My hands shook so much the paper rustled. I started reading aloud, voice barely above a whisper. My dearest Sarah, Alex, Elena, if you're reading this, it means you stayed, at least long enough to find this drawer. That's more than I hoped for. I never said it out loud while I was alive, but you 3 are the closest thing I ever had to children. Sarah, you were the daughter of my heart from the day you were born. Alex, you were the son I watched grow, even when you pushed me away. And Elena, you came to me when I thought my days of being needed were over. You gave me purpose again. You reminded me I still had love to give. I made mistakes, big ones. I let time and pride keep me from saying sorry, from saying I love you, from fixing what broke. This house isn't just a house. It's the only place where I ever felt whole. I want it to be that for you too, but only if you choose it, only if you choose each other. The 30 days aren't a punishment. They're a chance to talk, to remember, to forgive. If after 30 days you still want to sell, I won't stop you. But I hope you find something worth keeping. There's more in the drawer. Read slowly, take your time. I'm not going anywhere. With all my love, Uncle Rob, Dad, if you'll let me be. I couldn't finish the last line. My voice broke. Tears ran down my face, hot and fast. Elena was crying too. Quiet, shoulders shaking. Alex stood like stone, but his eyes were red. He turned away, stared at the rafters. None of us moved for a long time. Then Alex spoke, voice rough. He called me son. Elena wiped her cheeks. He called me daughter. I looked at them both. He called us his children. We didn't read the rest that day. It felt too big, too raw. We closed the drawer gently, like tucking someone into bed. We went downstairs without another word. That night, for the first time, Alex didn't disappear to the study. He sat in the living room with us. Elena made tea. I lit the fireplace. We didn't talk about the letters. We just sat together. But the next morning, everything shifted again. Alex came down early. He had one of the letters in his hand, the one addressed only to him. His face was pale. He wrote about my dad, Alex said, about the fight they had, the money Dad borrowed and never paid back. Uncle Rob said he forgave him years ago. But he never told me. I felt my chest tighten. Why not? Because he thought it would hurt me more. He said he wanted me to remember my father as the good man he was most of the time, not the mistakes. Elena reached over, touched his wrist lightly. He protected you. Alex's jaw worked. I spent years hating him for not helping more. Years. Silence again, then he looked at me. There's one for you too. You should read it alone. I nodded. I took mine to the garden that afternoon, sat on the bench under the willow, opened it with trembling fingers. Sarah, my girl, you were the light I didn't know I needed. Every time you walked through that door, The house felt alive again. I kept every card you sent, every photo. They're in the box under my bed if you want them. I'm sorry I didn't tell you sooner how much you meant. I was afraid of being too much, of scaring you away. But you never ran. You stayed, even when I got sick, even when it was hard. If you're reading this, know that I'm proud of you. Not for what you do, for who you are. Kind, gentle, strong in the quiet ways. Keep planting, sweetheart. Not just flowers. Plant forgiveness. Plant hope. Plant love. And if you ever doubt you're enough, come sit in this garden. I'll be here. Always. Love forever. Your uncle, your dad in every way that counts. I folded the letter and pressed it to my chest. Sobs came then, deep, aching ones. Not just for him. For all the years we could have said more. When I went back inside, Elena was waiting in the hallway. She held out her arms. I walked into them. We held each other and cried like we'd known each other forever. Alex watched from the stairs. He didn't join us. But he didn't leave either. That night, over dinner, he spoke for the first time without anger in his voice. I'm staying the full 30 days, he said. Not because of the will, because I need to. Elena smiled through fresh tears. We all do. We clinked our glasses, water, not wine. A small toast. To Uncle Rob. To second chances. To whatever came next. But even then, we didn't know the biggest secret was still waiting. One of the letters wasn't from Uncle Rob. It was from someone else. And when we read it, it changed everything we thought we understood about why he chose the three of us. We didn't open the rest of the letters right away. That drawer stayed closed for 2 more days. It was like we all needed time to breathe after the first ones. The house felt different now. Not haunted exactly. More like awake. Every creak of the floorboards, every shift of light through the windows, it reminded us Uncle Rob had planned this. He had waited years for us to find those words. I spent those 2 days mostly in the garden. I watered the roses even when they didn't need it. I pulled a few weeds. I sat on the bench and reread my letter until the paper felt soft from my fingers. Elena joined me sometimes. We didn't talk much. She'd bring lemonade in old mason jars. We'd sip and watch bees move from bloom to bloom. Once she said, very quietly, he always said the garden taught him more about forgiveness than any book ever did. I nodded. I think he was right. Alex kept to himself more than before. He'd disappear for long walks around the property, came back with dirt on his shoes and leaves in his hair. One afternoon I saw him sitting on the porch steps, staring at the old swing set Uncle Rob built when I was little. He didn't swing, just sat, looking like a man trying to remember how to be a boy. On the 3rd morning after we found the drawer, Elena knocked softly on my bedroom door. Sarah, I think we should read the rest today, together, before Alex changes his mind about staying. I agreed. We waited until evening, after dinner. Alex didn't argue when we suggested it. He just nodded once and followed us up to the attic. The desk looked the same. The drawer still open a crack, like it was waiting patiently. We sat on the floor in a small circle, 3 adults acting like kids in a secret meeting. Elena lifted the remaining letters out carefully. There were 7 left. 6 in Uncle Rob's handwriting, 1 envelope different. Plain white. No name on the front, just a date written in neat, unfamiliar script. 3 years ago. We started with Uncle Rob's. Each one was short. Personal. Like little goodnight kisses left behind. To Alex, memories of baseball games, apologies for not being there after his father died. Hope that he'd find peace someday. To me, stories of my childhood visits, pride in the way I listened to people, a quiet wish that I'd never stop believing in second chances. To Elena, gratitude for every meal she cooked when he couldn't stand, for reading to him when his eyes failed, for holding his hand the night he was scared. We read them one by one, voices soft, sometimes breaking, sometimes laughing through tears at the small funny things he remembered. The time Alex tried to mow the lawn and ran over the flower bed. The time I baked him a cake that tasted like salt instead of sugar. The time Elena taught him how to make tamales and he burned his fingers but ate 3 anyway. When we reached the last envelope, the plain white one, Elena's hand paused over it. "This isn't his writing," she said. Alex leaned forward. "Open it." She did. Inside was a single sheet of paper, folded once. The handwriting was careful, feminine, not shaky, not rushed. Elena started reading aloud. Her voice trembled from the first word. "Dear Elena, Sarah, and Alex. My name is Maria Marquez. I was Elena's younger sister. If you're reading this, it means Elena never told you the full truth. She was protecting me, and maybe protecting your uncle too. 25 years ago, I made a terrible mistake. I was young, scared, and alone. I got pregnant. The father, he wasn't kind. He left before I could even tell him. I couldn't keep the baby. I was barely surviving, so I gave her up. I gave my daughter up for adoption. That baby was you, Alex. I never stopped thinking about you. I looked for you when I got stronger, but the records were sealed. I only found out years later, through a private investigator, that you were Robert's nephew, that Robert had taken you in after your father passed, that he raised you like his own when he could. I never told Elena the whole story. She knew I gave a child up. She never judged me, but she didn't know it was you. 3 years ago, when Robert got sick, he asked Elena to help him find me. He wanted to make things right. He wanted to tell you, Alex, but he was afraid it would break you all over again. He asked Elena to keep the secret until after he was gone, until you 3 had spent time together, until you remembered what family could feel like. Elena fought him on it. She said the truth would hurt too much. But Robert was stubborn. He wrote this letter himself, asked me to copy it in my hand so it wouldn't look like his. He wanted you to hear it from someone outside the circle, someone who carried the guilt too. Alex, I'm so sorry. I was young, I was broken. I thought I was doing the right thing by letting you go to a better life. I never stopped loving you. I never stopped hoping you'd be happy. If you hate me, I understand. If you never want to know me, I'll respect that. But please, don't hate Elena. She's carried this weight for all of us. She stayed with Robert not for money, not for the house. She stayed because she loved him like a father, and because she loved you, without you even knowing why. Forgive us if you can. With a mother's broken heart, Maria. Maybe more. Then Alex turned. His face was wet. All these years, he said, I thought I had no one left. No real family. I pushed everyone away because it hurt less. He looked at Elena. You were here, taking care of him, taking care of his house. And you were my aunt. Elena's voice was small. I wanted to. Every day. But Robert asked me to wait. He believed. He believed if you saw kindness first, the truth wouldn't break you. It would heal you. Alex walked back slowly. He knelt in front of her. I don't know how to feel right now, he said. I'm angry, I'm confused, but I'm not leaving. He reached out, hesitated, then took her hand. Elena squeezed it like it was the only thing keeping her on earth. I sat between them, holding both their hands. We stayed like that until the attic grew dark. No one spoke for a long time. Finally, Alex said, I need to meet her. My mother, when I'm ready, but not yet. Elena nodded. Whenever you want, I'll help, or I'll stay out of the way, whatever you need. He looked at me next. And you're still my cousin. That hasn't changed. I smiled through tears. Always. We went downstairs together, slowly, like we were carrying something precious and breakable. That night we didn't go to our separate rooms right away. We sat in the living room, fire crackling, no TV, no phones. Just quiet. Alex spoke first. I used to think the house was the prize. Now I think the prize was this. Us, here, knowing. Elena wiped her eyes. Robert always said the best inheritance isn't money. It's people who choose to stay. I looked around at the familiar walls, the photos on the mantel, the swing visible through the window. I think he was right, I whispered. We didn't decide anything big that night. No promises about the future. No talk of selling or keeping. But something had shifted. The anger had cracked open, and through the crack, light was coming in. But even then, we didn't know the 30 days weren't over. There was one more letter in the drawer. The very last one. Uncle Rob had saved it for the end. And when we read it on day 29, it asked for the hardest thing of all. Day 29 arrived soft and gray. Rain tapped against the windows like fingers asking to come in. We had one more day left of the 30. One more sunrise, one more sunset in this house, before any final decision had to be made. None of us had spoken much about what came after. We were too busy living in the fragile new thing we'd found. Trust, maybe. Or at least the beginning of it. That morning, Elena made breakfast the way Uncle Rob used to on rainy days. Oatmeal with cinnamon, sliced apples, strong coffee. We ate at the kitchen table instead of the dining room. Closer, smaller circle. Alex even helped clear the dishes afterward without being asked. Small things. Huge things. After breakfast, Elena looked at us both. "There's one letter left in the drawer," she said quietly. "The very last one." He numbered them. "This is number 10. It's addressed to all three of us." Alex nodded once. "Let's do it upstairs, where we started." We climbed the attic stairs for what felt like the last time. The air smelled of old wood and rain. The desk waited like an old friend. Elena lifted the final envelope, thicker than the others, sealed with a small red wax stamp, Uncle Rob's initial R pressed into it. She handed it to me. "You read this one, Sarah. Your voice. It's gentle, like his." I took it. My fingers felt numb. I broke the seal carefully. Inside were 3 pages. His handwriting, steadier than the later ones, like he wrote this when he still had strength. I began, "My dearest children, if you've made it this far, you've already given me the greatest gift I could ask for. Time together. 30 days. Not to decide on a house, to decide on each other. I know by now you've read Maria's letter. I know the truth about Alex and Elena has come out. I'm sorry I kept it from you. I was afraid the shock would push you all away before you had a chance to see the good in one another. I was wrong to wait. But I wasn't wrong to believe in you. This house has stood for over 60 years. It's seen births, deaths, laughter, arguments, quiet nights when the world felt too big. I bought it when I was 35, thinking it would be a place for a family I never got to have the usual way. Instead, it became a place for the family I found along the road. Sarah, you brought light here every time you walked through the door. Alex, you reminded me that love can wait, even through anger. Elena, you showed me that family isn't always born. Sometimes it arrives when you need it most. Now I'm asking one last thing. Don't sell the house. Not yet. Turn it into something more. A place where people who feel alone can come. A quiet refuge. A garden for healing. Guest rooms for anyone who needs a soft place to land. Keep the library open. Keep the roses blooming. Make it a home not just for you 3, but for others who are searching the way we all were. You don't have to decide today, but if you choose this path, I've left enough in trust to help. Enough to cover taxes, repairs, a small staff if you need one. The rest is up to you. If you can't or don't want to, then sell. Split it fairly. Use the money to build lives that make you happy. I won't haunt you for that. I promise. But if there's even a small part of you that feels the pull, listen to it. Family isn't perfect. It's messy. It hurts. It forgives. It stays. I stayed for you. Now it's your turn to stay for each other. If you choose to keep it, plant 3 new rose bushes in the garden. 1 for each of us. Red for love, white for peace, pink for hope. I'll be watching. With more love than words can hold, your dad, always if you'll have me. I finished reading. The last word hung in the air. No one spoke. Rain drummed harder on the roof. Alex stood first, walked to the window, looked out at the wet garden. Elena stayed seated, hands folded in her lap, eyes closed. I folded the pages slowly, placed them back in the envelope, pressed the wax seal with my thumb. Then Alex turned. His voice was low, rough from unshed tears. I've spent my whole life running from places, from people, from anything that asked me to stay. He looked at Elena. I ran from you before I even knew you were family. He looked at me. I ran from you too. because staying meant feeling everything I didn't want to feel. He took a breath. But I'm tired of running. Elena opened her eyes. Tears slipped down her cheeks. Alex walked back to us, knelt again. I want to try, he said. The refuge idea, the garden, the rooms for people who need them. I don't know how good I'll be at it, but I want to try. With both of you. Elena reached for his hand, then for mine. I felt my own tears fall. I want that too, I whispered. Not because of the money. Because this feels like home. All of us, together. We sat there a long time. Rain slowing. Light breaking through clouds. No grand promises. No rushing to sign papers. Just a quiet agreement. We would keep the house. We would plant the roses. We would see what came next. Day 30 dawned clear. We went to the garden early. 3 bare root rose bushes waiting in pots, ordered weeks ago by Elena. Just in case. Red, white, pink. We dug the holes together, hands in the earth. No gloves, dirt under nails. Rain-soaked soil cool against skin. Alex planted the red one. For love, he said softly. The kind that waits. Elena planted the white. For peace, she said. The kind we're learning. I planted the pink. For hope, I said. The kind Uncle Rob never stopped having in us. We watered them, stood back, watched droplets sparkle on new leaves. Then we hugged. All 3, tight. No words needed. Later that afternoon we called the lawyer. Told him we weren't selling. Not now. Maybe not ever. He sounded surprised. Then warm. Your uncle would be proud, he said. He always believed you'd find your way. That evening we sat on the porch swing, the one Uncle Rob built. It creaked gently under us. Alex spoke first. I'm going to call Maria next week. My mother. I don't know what I'll say, but I want to hear her voice. Elena smiled. I'll be here. Whatever you need. I looked at the garden. The new roses already looked at home. I think we should name it, I said. The house. Something simple. Alex nodded. Rob's refuge? Elena laughed softly. Or just home. We liked that best. Home. As the sun set painting the sky pink and gold, I whispered to the quiet air, Thank you, Dad. And somewhere, I swear I felt him smile. But the story didn't end there. Years would pass. People would come and go through those doors. Tired travelers, broken hearts, lost souls looking for a soft place to rest. We'd listen. We'd feed them. We'd let them plant in the garden if they wanted. And every spring, those 3 rose bushes bloomed brighter than the rest. Red for love, white for peace, pink for hope. 5 years have passed since that rainy day we planted the roses. The house looks almost the same from the outside. Same white walls, same green shutters, same roses climbing wild and beautiful. But if you walk through the front door now, you'll hear something new. Voices, laughter in the kitchen, footsteps running down the hall. Someone playing an old piano in the living room that hadn't been touched in decades. We named it quietly. No big sign out front, just a small wooden plaque by the gate that says, Home. A place to rest, remember, and begin again. We never advertised. We didn't need to. People found us anyway. Word travels soft and slow when hearts are involved. The first person who came was a woman named Lila, 42 years old, divorce papers still warm in her hand. She showed up on our doorstep with one suitcase and eyes that had forgotten how to cry. She said she'd driven past the house every day for a month before she got brave enough to knock. Elena opened the door. Can I help you? Lila's voice cracked. I don't know where else to go. We didn't ask questions that first night. We just gave her a room, the one with the window overlooking the roses, made her tea, sat with her while she stared at nothing. She stayed 6 weeks. On the 3rd morning, she asked if she could help in the garden. Elena handed her gloves without a word. They worked side by side, pulling weeds, planting new lavender. One day, Lila started crying so hard she had to sit down in the dirt. Elena sat with her, held her, didn't say it's okay, just let her cry until the storm passed. When Lila left, she hugged each of us so tight I thought she'd never let go. Thank you, she whispered. I remembered I'm still a person. After her came Marcus, 17, sent by his foster mom who heard about us from a social worker. Tall kid, angry eyes, arms always crossed like armor. He didn't want to be here, said he was only staying one night. He stayed 4 months. Alex took him under his wing. They fixed the old fence together, rebuilt the porch swing that finally gave up one spring. Marcus didn't talk much at first, but hammers and saws and sweat make space for words when nothing else can. One night, after everyone else was asleep, Marcus found Alex in the kitchen. "I never had a dad who stayed," he said. Alex looked at him for a long time. "Me neither," he said. "Not really, but I'm learning how. Want to learn with me?" Marcus nodded. He calls Alex Uncle Alex now. Texts him every week from college. First one in his family. Then there was Mrs. Chen, 81. Lost her husband of 57 years. Her children lived far away. She came with a small photo album and a heart that felt too heavy to carry. I was the one who sat with her most. We'd drink tea on the porch and look at pictures. She told me stories about her wedding day, about the way he called her, my Rose, even when they were old and gray. One afternoon, she asked if she could plant something in the garden. "I want to leave a piece of us here," she said. We gave her the spot right beside Uncle Rob's 3 roses. She planted forget-me-nots, tiny blue flowers that come back every year. She passed peacefully in her sleep 6 months later, in the guest room with the rose view. Her daughter called us crying, not sad tears, grateful ones. She said this was the first place she felt held since Dad died. We buried a small part of her ashes under the forget-me-nots, with her permission. Now every spring, blue and red and white and pink bloom together, like they were always meant to. Alex met Maria in year 2. It was quiet, private. Elena drove him to the cafe where she waited. I stayed home, gave them space. He was gone 4 hours. When he came back, his eyes were red but clear. "She's kind," he said. "Scared, but kind. We're taking it slow. Coffee once a month, maybe more one day." Elena hugged him so hard his feet almost left the ground. They meet for lunch now. Sometimes Elena joins. Sometimes it's just the two of them. Healing looks different for everyone. Theirs looks like shared plates of food and careful questions and learning how to say "I missed you." 30 years too late. Me? I still work at the bookstore 3 days a week. I like the rhythm of it, shelving books, helping someone find the perfect story. But the rest of my time is here, cooking with Elena, fixing things with Alex, welcoming whoever shows up at the door with tired eyes and heavy hearts. We don't take money. The trust Uncle Rob left covers everything. Guests help if they want. Chop vegetables, sweep floors, pull weeds. Most do. It helps them feel useful again. Some stay a night, some stay a season. Some come back every year, just to sit in the garden and breathe. We keep the library open to anyone. Kids from town come after school sometimes. We read to them on the rug Uncle Rob bought when I was small. The same rug, worn soft now from love. At night, when the house is quiet again, the 3 of us sit on the porch swing. It holds all of us now. We fit just right. Alex brings beers sometimes. Elena brings tea. I bring blankets. We talk about the day, about who came, who left, who smiled for the first time. Sometimes we don't talk at all, just listen to crickets and wind in the roses. One night last summer, Alex looked up at the stars and said, "I used to think happiness was something you chased. Turns out it's something you make room for." Elena rested her head on his shoulder. "Your dad knew that," she whispered. I smiled into the dark. He's still teaching us. And he is. Every time someone walks through that door broken and leaves a little more whole. Every time we choose to stay when it's hard. Every time we plant something new in the garden. He's here, in the walls, in the roses, in us. This house never belonged to just one person. It belonged to love. And love, it turns out, is bigger than blood. It's bigger than mistakes. It's bigger than time. Love is the quiet choice to keep the door open, to keep planting, to keep hoping. And we do, every single day. Time moves differently here now. The seasons come and go, and the house seems to breathe with them. Spring brings the roses back first. Those 3 we planted still stand tallest, surrounded by dozens more that guests have added over the years. Red, white, pink, yellow, even a deep purple one a young man planted the day he decided to stay sober. Summer fills the air with lavender and honeysuckle. Fall turns the maples gold and red. Winter wraps everything in soft quiet. Snow sometimes dusting the garden like powdered sugar. We've learned the rhythm of it all. Elena still wakes earliest. She makes coffee the old way, on the stove, in the blue enamel pot Uncle Rob loved. The smell drifts through the halls like a memory waking up. Alex is usually next, already in work boots, checking the gutters or the fence, or whatever small thing the house whispered needed attention overnight. I come down last, hair messy, still half in dreams, and we meet in the kitchen like we've done 1,000 mornings. We don't plan big things anymore. Life here is made of small ones. A woman named Priya arrived one winter evening, coat soaked from rain, carrying a toddler on her hip and fear in her eyes. Her husband had left. No family nearby. She'd driven 4 hours after seeing a post on a local support page someone had shared about us. "I just need one safe night," she said, voice shaking. We gave her 2 rooms, one for her, one for the little boy. Elena rocked him to sleep while Priya cried in the kitchen. Alex made grilled cheese sandwiches at midnight because the child woke hungry. I sat with Priya until dawn, listening to her story. No advice, just ears. They stayed 3 months. The boy learned to say Uncle Alex first. Priya planted sunflowers in the spring because they reminded her of brighter days. When they left for a new apartment across town, she hugged us all and whispered, "You gave me back my courage." Letters come sometimes. Old guests write, birthday cards, photos of new homes, new jobs, new babies. One young woman sent a picture of her wedding bouquet, roses from our garden, dried and pressed. She wrote, "I carried a piece of home down the aisle." Not every story ends softly. Some guests leave angry, some leave broken still. One man shouted at Alex one night because the quiet felt too loud for his grief. He packed and left before breakfast. We never heard from him again. Those nights are hard. We sit together longer, hold each other a little tighter. Elena says it best. We don't fix people. We just give them a place to fall apart safely. The rest, that's between them and time. Alex has changed the most, though he'd never admit it. The man who once wanted to sell everything now spends hours teaching kids from town how to build birdhouses or repair bikes. He started a small woodworking shop in the old garage. Guests help if they want. Laughter echoing off the walls. He and Maria talk every week now. Sometimes they visit. She's gentle, quiet, still carrying her own guilt like a stone in her pocket. But she's learning to set it down, piece by piece. Last Christmas she stayed 3 days, sat in the garden with Elena, the 2 sisters who lost so much time. They planted paperwhites together, bulbs that bloom indoors in winter, white and fragrant. I watched from the window. Alex stood beside me. "Family isn't neat," he said. "No," I answered, "but it's real." I've changed too. I still work at the bookstore, but I've started a little reading circle here on Sunday afternoons. Kids and adults. We read poetry, short stories, sometimes chapters from books Uncle Rob loved. Voices fill the library again. Soft, hesitant at first, then stronger. One girl, 14, quiet as a shadow, read a poem she wrote about losing her mom. When she finished, the room was so still you could hear hearts beating. Then someone clapped. Then everyone. She cried. We all cried a little. After she planted a daisy by the forget-me-nots. I visit Uncle Rob's grave less often now. Not because I miss him less, because I feel him here more. In the swing that creaks. In the way the light hits the kitchen table at breakfast. In the new faces that come through the door. Every spring we do the same thing. We walk the garden together. Me, Alex, Elena. We look at the roses. We touch the petals. We remember the day we planted them. Red for love, the kind that waits, the kind that forgives. White for peace, the kind we fought for, the kind we protect. Pink for hope, the kind Uncle Rob carried until the end, the kind he passed to us. Then we plant one more, just one, for whoever needs it next. A guest who stayed, a guest who left, someone we haven't met yet. We don't always know their name. We just dig the hole, place the roots gently, cover them with earth, water them with care, and we whisper the same thing every time: grow. The house keeps growing too. More rooms opened up over the years. A small studio apartment above the garage for long-term stays. A quiet reading nook in the attic where the drawer once waited. We added solar panels last year. Uncle Rob would have loved that. Save the planet and the wallet, he'd say with a wink. We still have no big rules. Come as you are. Stay as long as you need. Leave when you're ready. Help if you want. Rest if you don't. Some days are hard. Bills arrive. Repairs cost more than expected. Hearts break again, ours included. But we meet in the kitchen those nights. Tea, silence, hands held, and we keep going. Because this isn't just a house anymore. It's a promise kept. Uncle Rob's promise, and ours. To stay, to open the door, to plant, to hope. 5 years ago, I thought inheritance was about money, about walls and land. Now I know it's about hearts, about choosing each other every day, about turning pain into a soft place for someone else, about never closing the gate. The roses are blooming again this spring, brighter than ever. And somewhere, I like to think Uncle Rob is sitting on that porch swing we fixed together, watching us, smiling, whispering the same thing he always did. Good things take time. Yes, Dad, they do. And we're still here, planting. 10 years now. 10 springs since we planted those first 3 roses. I still count them every year like birthdays. The red one has grown tall and strong, thorns sharp, but blooms full and generous. The white one stays low and steady, petals soft as whispers. The pink one spreads wide, almost like it's reaching to hug the others. New bushes have joined them, yellow for joy, lavender for healing, deep burgundy for strength. Each one has a story. Each one holds a name. The house has grown too. Not in size, really. We added a sunroom off the kitchen a few years back. Glass walls, comfortable chairs, a small table where guests can sit and watch the garden even on rainy days. Elena picked the paint, soft sage green inside, cream trim. Alex built the shelves for books and plants. I sewed the cushions. It feels like the house itself decided it needed more light. We still don't have a website or a brochure. People find us the old-fashioned way, through a friend who stayed here once, through a pastor who mentioned us in a sermon, through a quiet post on a local support group page. They arrive with suitcases and heavy hearts, and most leave lighter. Some come back. Some send others. Last year, a young man named Jamal showed up at the gate one October evening, 23, eyes red from crying. He'd lost his mother to cancer 6 months earlier. No siblings, father gone years before. He'd driven from 3 states away after hearing about us from a nurse at the hospice. I just needed somewhere quiet, he said, voice barely above a whisper. Elena brought him in, gave him the room with the window seat, made him chamomile tea. Alex sat with him on the porch until midnight, not saying much, just listening to the crickets. Jamal stayed through the winter. He helped Alex rebuild the old stone wall along the driveway, piece by piece, learning how to mix mortar, how to place stones so they'd last another 50 years. One afternoon he told me, "My mom used to say, when life breaks you, find a place to rebuild. I think this is that place." In spring he planted a yellow rose bush. For Mom, he said. She always loved sunflowers, but roses last longer. He left in May, hugged us all, promised to visit. He does, every year around her birthday, brings coffee and stories. Last time he brought his new wife. She planted a lavender bush beside the yellow one. Not every stay is long or sweet. There was a couple, Mark and Lisa, married 15 years, 2 kids. They came after Mark lost his job in the house they'd lived in for 12 years. They were angry at the world, angry at each other. The children were quiet, wide-eyed. They stayed 2 months. Mark worked with Alex in the woodshop. Lisa helped Elena in the kitchen. The kids played in the garden, chased butterflies, read books in the library. Slowly, the anger softened. One evening, Lisa came to me crying. I thought we were done. I thought this was the end. But it wasn't. They didn't leave us the way they came in. Mark found a new job, not perfect, but enough to stand on. Lisa stopped by the garden once in a while, bringing us jars of jam. The kids still write us letters. We planted a lilac bush where they used to sit. It's blooming now. Every flower has a story. Every corner holds a memory. But being here, it reminded me why we started. They left with a plan. New jobs lined up, a small apartment. But they came back 6 months later, just for a weekend, to say thank you, to let the kids see the roses they helped water. Sometimes I sit in the garden alone, early morning, before anyone else is up. I touch the petals. I remember the day we planted them. I remember Uncle Rob's letter, the way he called us his children, the way he asked us to keep the door open. I whisper to him sometimes, "You were right, Dad. It wasn't about the money. It was about this." The house has seen so many tears, so many laughs, So many first steps forward. One winter, a woman named Grace arrived, 56, recently widowed. Her husband had been sick a long time. She'd taken care of him at home until the end. After he passed, the silence in her own house was too loud. She stayed 4 months. She spent most days in the library, reading aloud to anyone who'd listen. Old poetry, classic novels, children's stories. Her voice was soft, steady, like a lullaby for grown-ups. One day, she asked if she could plant something permanent. "I want to leave a mark," she said. We gave her the spot near the porch steps. She chose a climbing rose, creamy white with pink edges. She named it Forever. She passed 2 years later, peacefully, in her sleep at her daughter's house. But her rose still climbs. Every summer it reaches the porch railing. Petals fall like soft snow. Her daughter visits now, brings her grandchildren. They sit under the vine and read the same poems Grace loved. I'm in my early 50s now. Alex is 48. Elena just turned 65 last month. We celebrated with a small party in the garden. Guests old and new, cake with too much frosting, laughter until the stars came out. We still sit on the porch swing most evenings. It creaks more now. We don't mind. Alex brings stories from the woodshop. Elena talks about the new herbs she's trying. I share letters from old guests. We listen. We smile. We hold hands sometimes. 3 people who found each other when we weren't even looking. The house isn't perfect. Pipes leak. Roof needs patching. The garden fights weeds every spring. But it's ours and it's theirs. The people who come and go. Uncle Rob's trust still covers the bills. We live simply. We give what we can. We take what we need. Sometimes I wonder what he'd think if he could see us now. I think he'd sit on that swing with us. He'd look at the roses. He'd look at the people inside cooking dinner or reading to kids or just resting. He'd smile that quiet smile he had. And he'd say, "Good things take time." Yes, Dad, they do. And we're still here, still planting, still holding the door open, still learning how to love the way you did. Quietly, steadily, forever. 15 years. That's how long the roses have been blooming under this same sky. I walk the garden most evenings now, alone or with whoever is staying. The paths are worn smooth from so many feet, some small, some heavy, some hesitant, some sure. The air always smells the same. Earth, flowers, a hint of rain even when it's dry. The house glows behind me. Windows lit soft yellow, voices drifting out like music. I still sit on the porch swing. It creaks louder these days. The wood has silvered with time. Alex refinished it twice. Elena added cushions that fade and get replaced. I still sit in the middle spot, the one Uncle Rob always saved for me when I was little. Sometimes I close my eyes and feel him there. Not a ghost, just presence. The way the swing moves the same slow rhythm. The way the evening breeze carries the scent of roses right to me. I think about that first letter, the shock, the confusion, the fear that sharing this place would break it or break us. I think about the attic drawer, the words that spilled out like water after a long drought, the truth about Alex and Elena, the way anger cracked open into something softer. I think about the decision we made on day 30, not to sell, not to divide, to keep, to open, to let strangers become family for a little while. I think about all the people who passed through these doors. Lila, who remembered how to cry. Marcus, who learned how to stay. Priya and her little boy who found courage again. Jamal, who planted yellow for his mom. Grace, whose rose still climbs the porch like a promise. Hundreds more. Names I still remember. Faces I still see in dreams. Stories that live in the walls now. The house never asked them to be perfect. It just asked them to show up. And they did. We did. Alex is gray at the temples now. He still works in the shop every day. Still teaches kids how to measure twice and cut once. Still calls Maria Mom without hesitation. He and Elena argue about the best way to prune the lavender. Same argument for 15 years. They always end up laughing. Elena's hands are spotted with age, but they're still the gentlest hands I know. She cooks for whoever is here. She listens like it's the most important job in the world. She still plants one new thing every spring, says it keeps her heart young. Me, I'm slower in the mornings. I read more poetry than novels these days. I write letters to old guests sometimes, just to check in. I still work part-time at the bookstore, Fewer hours, more stories. The kids there call me Miss Sarah from the Rose House. I like that. We don't count guests anymore. We just welcome them. Some days are quiet. Some days the house is full. Laughter in the kitchen, children running the halls, someone playing the old piano off-key, but happy. Every evening when the light turns golden, I come out here to the swing. The roses are in full bloom right now. Red, white, pink, yellow, lavender, burgundy, colors blending into one long wave of beauty. I touch the petals of the pink one, the hope one. I whisper the same thing I've whispered for 15 years. Thank you, Dad, for believing we could do this, for giving us time, for teaching us that family isn't found, it's made. One open door at a time, one quiet choice to stay. The breeze answers, always does. And somewhere deep inside, I feel his smile. This was my true story. Not just about a mansion worth $2 million, about a heart worth so much more. About 3 people who started as strangers to each other's pain and ended as family. About a house that became a home because someone believed love could grow anywhere, if you just give it time, earth, and light. If you've stayed with me this long, thank you. From the bottom of my heart, stories like this remind us we're not alone, that healing is possible, that second chances bloom when we least expect them. If this touched you, if it made you think of someone you've lost, or someone you want to forgive, or a place that once felt like home, please hold that feeling close. And maybe plant something small today. A flower, a kind word, a moment of patience. Good things take time, but they do come. If you'd like more stories like this, real ones, quiet ones, ones that remind us we're all just trying our best, please like this video, share it with someone who needs a little hope, and subscribe. I'll keep telling them. Grandma stories, heart stories, stories that feel like coming home. Thank you for listening. Until next time, keep your door open and keep planting.